You know, there's something I've been thinking about lately. Something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. It's that heavy feeling in your chest when you sit down for dinner alone. Or the way the silence in the house seems louder than it used to be. Maybe you've noticed it too. That loneliness isn't just an emotion. It's something deeper, something that can take a real toll on your health, especially after 60. What if I told you that feeling lonely could be more dangerous than obesity? It might sound surprising, but research shows that chronic loneliness can shorten your life even faster than carrying extra weight. And here's the thing, it's not just about being alone. You could be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. It's about connection, about having people who truly see you, who make you feel valued and understood. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck in that feeling. No matter how long it's been since you've had close friends, it's never too late to build meaningful connections. Today, we're going to talk about 3 simple, practical ways to find friends, real friends, who bring joy and warmth back into your life. These aren't complicated strategies, just honest, down-to-earth steps that anyone can take. First, let's talk about the power of shared interests. Think about something you love, whether it's gardening, painting, reading, or even just swapping stories over a cup of coffee. There are others out there who love those things too, and they're waiting to meet someone just like you. Community centers, local libraries, and even online groups are filled with people who share your passions. You don't have to walk into a room full of strangers and force a conversation. Instead, focus on the activity itself. When your hands are busy potting plants, or your mind is wrapped up in a good book discussion, the conversation flows naturally. Now, you might be thinking, but what if I'm not the outgoing type? That's perfectly fine. Friendship doesn't require you to be the life of the party. It's about showing up, even in small ways. Start with something simple, a smile, a compliment, or just showing up to the same place regularly. People notice consistency. Before long, you'll find that the person who always sits next to you at the weekly knitting group starts saving you a seat. The second way to find friends is by giving yourself permission to be a beginner. Maybe you've always wanted to try line dancing. Or perhaps you've been curious about bird watching, but never took the leap. Classes and workshops for seniors are wonderful places to meet people because everyone's in the same boat. Learning something new, maybe feeling a little unsure, but excited to try. There's a special kind of bond that forms when people learn together. You laugh at the mistakes, cheer each other on, and before you know it, you're not just classmates, you're friends. And here's something important to remember. Not every connection has to turn into a deep, lifelong friendship. Some of the most joyful moments come from casual, lighthearted interactions. The neighbor who waves when you check the mail, the friendly cashier at the grocery store who remembers your name. These small moments matter. They remind us that we're part of a community, that we belong. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if I try and it doesn't work? It's true, not every effort will lead to a close friendship, and that's okay. The key is to keep going, to keep putting yourself out there in ways that feel comfortable for you. Friendships, especially later in life, often grow slowly, like a garden. You plant the seeds, water them with kindness and patience, and over time, they bloom. So, we've covered 2 ways to find friends: through shared interests and by trying new things together. Next, we'll talk about the 3rd way, which might just be the most powerful of all. It's about shifting your mindset in a way that not only helps you make friends, but also deepens the connections you already have. But for now, I'd love to hear, have you ever made a friend later in life in an unexpected way? Share your story in the comments below. You never know who might be inspired by it. You know, there's something beautiful about friendships that form later in life. They don't carry the same pressures as the friendships of our younger years. No worrying about fitting in or keeping up with the crowd. Instead, they're built on something far deeper: shared wisdom, mutual respect, and the quiet understanding that time is precious. That brings us to the 3rd and perhaps most important way to find friends after 60. Being the friend you wish to have. It sounds simple, but think about it. Kindness is magnetic. When you reach out first, whether it's inviting someone for coffee, offering a listening ear, or just sharing a warm smile, you create a ripple effect. People respond to warmth. And often, the very act of giving friendship is what opens the door to receiving it. Take Margaret, for example. She told me that after her husband passed, she felt invisible, like the world had moved on without her. One day, she decided to start small. She began baking extra batches of her famous cinnamon rolls and bringing them to her local senior center. At first, it was just a way to fill her time. But soon, people started lingering to chat, sharing their own stories, and before she knew it, she wasn't just the lady with the delicious treats. She was Margaret, the heart of their little community. She didn't set out to make friends. She set out to be kind, and friendship followed. Now, I won't pretend every effort will unfold like Margaret's. Some days, you might feel like you're putting in the work without seeing results. But here's what I've learned. Friendship isn't a transaction. It's not about keeping score. It's about showing up again and again in ways that feel true to you. Maybe that means volunteering at a place that matters to you, where you'll meet like-hearted people. Or perhaps it's reconnecting with an old acquaintance, someone you've lost touch with but often think about. Funny how a simple, "I was just remembering you today," can reignite a bond. And let's not forget technology. I know for some of us, the idea of making friends online feels strange. But hear me out. Platforms like Facebook groups or senior-focused forums can be gold mines for connection. There are groups for everything: grandparents raising grandchildren, retirees who love to travel, even virtual book clubs. You can dip your toe in from the comfort of your living room. And who knows? That person who always comments on your posts might become a pen pal or even a face-to-face friend. Here's the truth. Loneliness thrives in silence. The moment you start talking about it, whether to a neighbor, a doctor, or even a stranger in a comment section, you realize you're not alone in feeling alone. And that's the first step toward change. So, let's recap. First, lean into shared interests. Let hobbies and activities do the introducing. Second, embrace being a beginner. Curiosity is a wonderful bridge to others. And third, lead with kindness. Be the friend you'd love to have, and trust that the right people will meet you there. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's this: you are worthy of connection at any age. It's never too late to reach out, to laugh until your sides hurt, to have someone who notices when you're not your usual self. The world needs your stories, your laughter, your presence. So don't wait for friendship to find you. Take one small step today. Bake the extra cinnamon rolls. Say yes to the class that intrigues you. Send that message. And when you do, come back and tell us about it. Because your story might be the nudge someone else needs to take their own first step. Here's to brighter days, fuller hearts, and the friendships that are waiting just around the corner. You've got this. Take care.